Okay, now we're going to make the bread. We have King Arthur Baking Company unbleached bread flour. Grandma says this is the best one to use. So I've put 4 cups in here so far. As you can see in the directions, it's 5.5 cups. This is the last cup and a half. It needs 1 more scoop. Grandma says to get the scoops out individually like this, instead of just dumping the bread flour into the thing, which she says you'll use more. I've weighed it. It's about 2 pounds of bread flour per use. And as you can see, there's 5 pounds. So this one should make about 2.5 loaves. Okay, so we're gonna put that in here. Next we have a cup of starter. This has just been sitting out all day. I'm gonna put that in last, just because it'd be easier to do this way. All right, we have 2 tablespoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of salt. Sorry, TSP, teaspoon. So I'm gonna put 1 in there, dump it in there. Grandma says don't put too much salt in there, otherwise it won't rise well. So there's 2 teaspoons, sorry. We're gonna put 1/2 cup of oil in there. Just measure the 1/2 cup the best you can. Alright, now we have 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. We should have put that in before. All of them. Because this is going to be wet, but
another one?
Yeah, I guess I can use another one. Okay. Okay, we got 1/4 cup of sugar. Let me pour a little too much. That's probably about right. I'll throw that in there. Put this to the side. Now we have, I'm going to go ahead and put the starter in there. Okay, and it's important to make sure you pour out, you make sure you just leave a cup in there when you're done. You make sure you want to stir it up really good. I'm going to use this other wooden thing to get everything off the bottom really good. I'm going to stir it up really good. And the instructions say 1 cup, but I think you should at least use 1.25 cups. Maybe a little more than 1.25 cups. Once this thing has 2 lines, it's on about 1 cup. So that's about 1.25 cups, maybe a little bit more than 1.25 cups. I used 1.5 cups last time. So I'm going to stir it back up one more time. I'm going to dump this in here until I have 1 cup. You need to do this fast as well so it doesn't settle. So I have 1 cup of starter left. So I needed just a little bit more maybe. And if I want to, I can add this a little bit, slice a little bit to make it rise even more. You don't want to put too much of this in there, but that's pretty close. So then I put my starter back in the cup, back in the jar, the quart jar. And then I will put this directly into the refrigerator whenever I'm done, which I could do it right now, but now we need to get 1.5 cups of hot water. Warm water. Since you use more starter, you may need to use a little bit less than 1.5 cups. So we're going to let that water get warm. You can go ahead and start stirring a little bit while you wait for the water to get warm. Now it's important that you just stir this up enough. You don't want to stir it a lot. Or to where you would need it. Okay, I've got a little more than 1 cup here. I'm going to go ahead and pour a little more than 1 cup there. And I'm going to go ahead and get another little bit ready in case I need it. So once I get this mixed up, I'm going to stop stirring it. May need a little bit more of that water. There's still a lot of powder here. I want to get it off the bottom. Looks like I may need that last little bit of water, as it's just kind of really flaky. I may not really need it, but I'm just going to put a little bit more in there. As you can see, there's still some flakes at the bottom. I need to make sure I really get all that. Looks like I'm just going to go ahead and use more water. So I probably used about 1 1/3 cups of water, or maybe a little bit more than 1 1/3 cups of water. But you don't want to get too much, because then you'll make this stuff really gooey, and it won't. It will stick to the thing bad. Okay. So now that I've done that, that's good. I don't need to keep mixing it, even though it looks like it could be mixed more. Alright. Now this is an important part. You want to take a little bit of oil, but not yet. Use this thing right here. It's like a little padded, little padded thing. Little padded spatula. And Grandma says you want to spread it out. The reason you want to spread it out is so it will have a better chance to rise. And you can mix it up in something like this, which is a much wider thing, and I recommend doing that for your first times. If you want to. This is a bit of a deep one. But I've noticed if you just put enough yeast in it, like I'm doing almost 1.5 cups here, then everything will still rise fine. So this may be kneading it a little bit, maybe, I don't really know, but this is what Grandma did, so this is what I'm going to do. Okay, once you got it on there, you could kind of press it down a little bit just so it will be more uniform whenever you put the plastic wrap on top of it. Okay, so Grandma says to put a little bit of oil on there, maybe a little bit more, and that will help everything stick to the plastic wrap so that it won't peel off. Okay, so now we're going to take the plastic wrap. Grandma says this plastic wrap is the most hateful, one of the most hateful things in the world. So just try to get it behind that wall if you can a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to push itself out anyways. So, but you know, they do this. Grandma says to do this so that you know, it will stay. Air won't get to it too bad. Looks like I needed a little bit more of this stuff to get this side over here. Okay, now you want to take a dish towel and you want to just put over the top of it. And Grandma says that you should put it on something so that it stays really close up under it. But I don't do that just because I don't have anything and it doesn't seem like it makes a difference. But it probably does, I just don't know exactly. Alright, so now we're going to put our thing back in there, back in the fridge. and we will wait until the next step, which will be putting them into these small aluminum foil trays, 3 per loaf. So by tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, when it will be risen up sufficiently, it doesn't really matter if you let this thing rise for 12 hours or 8 hours, because you're going to end up letting it rise in this thing again. And this is what really matters, because you really want to watch it and make sure that it doesn't rise out over the top and droop down. So you want to give this plenty of time to rise, but not too much time. All right, until the next step.